Okay, so it's game day for England Lionesses. It's the semi-final of the Women's World Cup today, so I'm a little distracted as I record this video. But I wanted to just talk about the importance of technique in your sessions. For me, and I know many others, technique is the foundation of all sessions, especially for kids who are starting football beyond 12, when they're getting into their teenage years. They're kind of moving into the developmental years and they're hitting puberty. That's where it's suitable to start building in ideas from tactics and having some team play as a more predominant focus. But in the years preceding those, 6 onwards to about 12, those infant years, really the primary focus should be building in technique and encouraging children to be brave and to dribble and to be comfortable in 1v1 situations across the pitch. So that means introduce 1v1 skills at whatever stage you can in your sessions. So using turns, feints, moves to get past the opponents, maybe little tricks to stop and slow down, things that will be useful in 1v1 situations. And the way I like to do this is to use variable practices to do this rather than block practices. A block practice is a very constant thing where, for instance, you have a player on a cone, dribbling a few yards, and then performing a move on another cone. So the benefits of that is you get a lot of repetition. However, what you lose is the element of randomness, the game relevance. So what you can do to counter that is to do it in a variable context. So that means have players moving in and out of each other, feed the ball from different angles for players to receive and then perform moves. So get players to perform maybe the same action but in variable settings. And there's a whole host of great 1v1 resources on YouTube that I find very useful. I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, Joe Smith. He has a fantastic YouTube channel, which I'll put a link in the description. He has wonderful 1v1 moves that he breaks down and makes very teachable to anyone who wants to try. So if you're a coach, have a look at that. Even if you're a player, that'd be great for you to just have a look and try with a partner. But that's just one example. There's a whole range of different moves out there, and they range from beginner all the way up to kind of advanced, if you'd like. Honestly, there's a free library out there for coaches and players to have a look at and to then incorporate into sessions. And I think it's really important to do that, to really encourage creativity and flair is really what it is. To be able to be comfortable in a 1v1 situation across the pitch, that's having an element of confidence. That's something that definitely English players have been lacking in well, for a very long time, maybe forever. And I would say the same for American players, from what I'm seeing. Again, echoing on from my previous video, that American players, you would say that their main asset is their physicality, their endurance. So the importance of having a strong technical ability is one that it just allows for you to be comfortable in whatever. Wow. Close. Benefits of having strong 1v1 skills is that you can play anywhere on the pitch, receive a ball under pressure and be comfortable. A player, you're going to be an asset to any team you walk into if you're comfortable in doing that. Along with that idea of using skills and things that would be beneficial in 1v1 situations, it's important also to promote the idea of using both feet. Reason for this is fairly obvious, is in that players will be comfortable using both feet as they grow older. They'll get into the habit of performing moves on both sides. So again, you're really creating a player who's comfortable across the pitch on both flanks. And this is far easier to do at a younger age. That building in that habit of using left foot, right foot is a lot easier thing to do rather than trying to pick up a child who's been using only one foot and start to encourage them on their weaker side. You'll probably notice that the child will be firstly hesitant to use that weaker side, and they might give you some grief saying I don't want to, I can't, and use kind of negative language towards themselves because their weaker foot isn't as good. So what you need to do is obviously carefully manage that, just encourage the idea of practice. But what I would say is to just avoid situations like that occurring, is to just make sure that children are practicing on both sides from as early as possible. The idea of using simple ball manipulation techniques such as rolling the ball with the sole of the foot, getting little touches with your toes and your laces, dribbling with the inside and outside of your feet are things that you can do in a warm up. So sometimes I see, oh, is that a penalty? Ah, penalty for Japan. Oh no, penalty for Japan. 1-0 Japan. Why is she running so fast? Where's she going? Ah, she ran to her team. Ah, that's nice. She sprinted to her team on the bench to just give them a hug. So, as I was saying, you should definitely think about the idea of utilising your warm-up time. Now, I see a lot of coaches with the best intentions getting their children to do, run laps or whatever, but honestly, they don't need to. Try to encourage your players to use the ball during their warm-up. So play tag games, chase games, have them dribbling round cones in races, do technical things that they would normally do in a game, but make it into a small, fun game. Building competition, and you see that they'll have fun, they'll warm up as well as having extra touches of the ball that might have been wasted. So that's something that I always like to do. And then lastly, the thing I would say is don't fight the selfishness that a child will show with a football. You'll notice that some children they'll want to keep the ball, they'll want to dribble, and they won't want to pass. But that's not a bad thing. I've often seen coaches shout or parents shout, pass it, don't be a ball hog. Yeah, they have a point, but at the same time, there's another child who will just kick it. As soon as the ball comes, they'll just kick it, and then they're getting a clap. But really, what we're trying to encourage, what the end outcome is, what the objective is for all players to be comfortable 1v1. Don't discourage them, let them do that. That's great. And for the child that likes to kick and rush, get them down and try a different approach with them. Try to encourage them to pass it, take a touch and pass it, and slowly build their confidence up until they feel that they can have a little dribble before they pass. So really have fun with it, have fun with the idea of using technique. The kids do. Everyone plays soccer because they want touches of the ball. So just squeeze every second of your session that you can with the ball. Get them to dribble to the area where they have their water breaks and dribble back. Make it a race. When they're collecting the cones up at the end of the session, get them to take a ball with them. Persuade parents to buy a little size 1 football for the house. Just give them homework at the end of the day to practice one of the moves that you were working on specifically in the session. So there's lots of little things that you can do, but just always remember that the aim of coaching at the younger ages is really to just build their confidence, keep them happy and keep them playing the game, and make them comfortable technically on both sides across the pitch in 1v1 situations. That's my take.